Hello, everyone. I'm Colin Tessier of WrestleZone.com, joined by John Clark tonight to talk about WWE NXT 2.0. John, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing all right. I'm not in major location. If you can tell by if you're watching this, the lighting and everything. I'm sorry. I am dog sitting, so I'm not in major location. But here we are here. The show must go on, as we say. And that the show must go on for the go-home show of NXT 2.0 ahead of NXT WarGames on Sunday. We'll have a post show for that. We'll talk about that later on here. But this was the go-home show, the last stop, the last chance for NXT to build up any momentum, any buzz, and any last, I guess, excitement for War Games, any last stakes for War Games. We had two War Games advantage ladder matches, the kind of bookend of the show, both of which were very, very good. I liked that. I liked some of the things we saw tonight. Others not so much. But I was telling John before I went live here, I felt very, very positive coming out of Raw last night, and that was nice. Coming out of NXT tonight, not feeling quite so upbeat here, only really because I really continue to get the sense that NXT of old will really be no more come Sunday and moving forward. Not even talking about John's pumping his fist. Get out of here, man. What are you talking about? But Brian Everett's saying he can't wait for War Games. I mean, I'm sure it'll be a good show. There are things I'm looking forward to, but I'm not looking forward to what I'm predicting to be the very, firm end of the NXT that I once knew and loved, and that's what we've been kind of dealing with for a while now. John, that's just telling you to smile, but we'll talk about the show here. But I guess we can start with the main event because that was the last impression we got. It was a ladder match of Johnny Gargano and Braun Breaker. Before early in the show, this was actually, I should say, it was left to a fan poll. The people had power here.
Was it though? Was it?
Well, that was what I was kind of thinking. They announced, I think it was like last Thursday or Friday, they were going to do a fan poll. And me being a wrestling fan, I was like, all right, I'm going to vote in this poll. I voted for my guy, Johnny Gargano. And I might have voted for Braun just because I thought it would have been an interesting match. I'm not quite sure because I know we didn't. I didn't vote for Carmelo Hayes because we already saw that match. I want something fresh, hopefully. So I think I might vote for both of them actually. So, but no, I mean,
Taboo Tuesday.
There you go, or Cyber Sunday. These are things we've had in the past here. So Steven Chambers saying maybe the poll was rigged. Hey. Yeah, maybe, right?
I mean, you had to have assumed that Braun Breaker was going to win. I thought that was obvious from the start. I mean, the other side could have really went anyway. So, I mean, no matter who they would have picked, it could have been believable. So, I wouldn't say it was rigged as much as I would say they probably already knew who they were going to have win. So, like, I don't think the result cared. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think they were like, okay, we have to rig this so Johnny Gargano wins. I think it was more of like, who cares who wins? They're not going to know. We're just going to say Johnny Gargano won.
Yeah, I could see that. And that's just saying she likes Cyber Sunday. I used to love Cyber Sunday. I've long wanted to see them bring that back, especially nowadays, social media being what it is. I just think that makes so much sense to do, and I'm surprised they haven't done it, but nonetheless. Let's say Joseph Priestley should be in saying hello. It's been a while since he's been here. Hope we had a good Thanksgiving. Hope you did too, Joseph. We appreciate you. Eddie pitching, maybe bring back Cyber Sunday as like its own thing here, or Taboo Tuesday to NXT 2.0. I mean, hey, John, I don't know if you know this. NXT airs on Tuesday, so that would actually make a lot of sense to do that if they don't want to do it as an actual takeover-esque event. Doing a special Tuesday themed show would make a lot of sense, and we've seen it with Vengeance Day, Halloween Havoc. Crazier things have happened than suggesting that they could or should bring back something like Cyber Sunday.
New Year's Evil, bring it back.
Yep, that was good as well. It was a fun one as well. Big fan of these special shows. Even bigger fan of the takeover-like shows, and that's when you get on Sunday with War Games. Not just saying War Games should be good, and I agree. Again, even if I am dreading the likely result, I'm sure it will be a very good show. But we had this promo exchange early in the show. It was Gargano and the new school. Well, actually, only Gargano representing New School, saying that if it weren't for him and Ciampa and some of the veterans, the NXT, the New School, or the official name Team 2.0, would not have a ring to stand in. This is true. They literally, they made NXT what it is or what it was. So all this buzz and excitement about NXT 2.0, you know, they should be thanking guys like Gargano. So, you know, I like that because that is true. Michael Covenant saying that he is predicting or assuming, expecting Gargano to leave. Now, we do know reportedly Gargano signed a 1-week contract extension to stay through WarGames. Otherwise, we don't know what his future holds. But as I said, between NXT ending NXT as we knew it ending, and you know, these contracts, Gargano's is expiring, Kyle O'Reilly's is expiring. You know, even if some of those guys stay, nonetheless, this is very much the direction we've been going. One good line from Gargano was calling Braun Breaker the big bad booty nephew, a very clear reference to Scott Steiner. Yet again, we've talked about it before. We all know that Braun Breaker is Scott Steiner's nephew.
The
And
Frankensteiner off the top
yep,
rope.
they did that. There was the one line with Ciampa weeks ago about the Steiner math, like referencing the famous Steiner math promo. So they are very much like, they know we know, and like we know they know, but they're still not really coming out and saying it, and that's fine. Like it's fine. We can sit here and appreciate what we are getting. But I thought it was a very good main event, and I had largely assumed here that Breaker would win, and he did. But John, I tell you, a lot of matches just look painful. There were a couple spots. One of them, Breaker belly to belly suplex Gargano onto a ladder over his head. Breaker then dove off the top rope, landed on a ladder. Like painful stuff, but they do it for our entertainment. And we appreciate it. Very good main event. Breaker won fair and square. So, you know, there you have it. NXT Team 2.0 has the advantage heading into Sunday. What do you think about this main event? And now then this is the last stop. What are your thoughts on where we're heading into, you know, old school versus new school here?
I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket, Colin. You are pretty confident that we are going to see the end of old NXT. And while I don't disagree, I do not think it is a guaranteed final statement solidified that they're going to lose. I think there is really a possibility that they could still win this match. I do think they have. Now, obviously, all of this is just basically words, but I'm going to say it anyway. They do have the talent to win. They do have the firepower and fan support behind them. It's funny and weird at the same time because if you really wanted to build NXT 2.0, you think you'd make them the good guys that people would want to cheer,
Right,
not what people want to
exactly.
boo and don't
Yes.
like. So that is kind of doesn't make sense.
I noticed it tonight, especially, you know, and I should say, as soon as they officially framed the 2.0 versus the old school kind of thing, Braun Breaker very much has like top level babyface written all over him. It's just, to me, it's clear as day. He had the feud with Ciampa, and initially it was very much kind of a babyface kind of thing, and that's fine. And then with the old school, new school stuff, they very much framed it like, okay, he's one of the new kids on the block that's like disrespectful of the past generation, and they're all being kind of like arrogant jerks. And absolutely, it's like if you want to really like build this brand, these are your top guys, your top, you know, people on 2.0 of at least of the new generation. You would very much think that they would want to make them people we want to cheer for, and having them be out there. Yeah, Grayson Waller saying like, oh, the hot dog and handshake generation, and he's not willing to, you know, carry people's bags, whatever. Very, very, very much a paying your due kind of thing. Not a good look. And now I'm thinking like, you know, come after Sunday, it's like I'm not. It's like they're fighting an uphill battle, like, because then like you've kind of got that in your mind, like, oh, they're you know, that mean to, you know, the generation of old, like it's going to be a little harder to cheer them, you know, kind of moving forward like that. But they had to kind of frame it in this way. Although I would say, okay, counter. They didn't have to frame it this way. They chose to do that. So then once they did that, they kind of had to follow that through rather than kind of two babyface teams kind of fighting. Because I get, and that makes sense as well because it is war games. You'd want it to be teams that actually don't like each other. So they kind of had to have this legitimate animosity or conflict of, you know, which generation is in the right, or you know, which one is NXT today. So I can see why they don't necessarily support it, but nonetheless, bunch of comments here with Steven Chambers saying he hopes Gargano stays. Same with Kyle O'Reilly. We'll talk about Kyle O'Reilly in a minute. But yes, I mean, again, I hope they stay, but at the same time, I'm also like, I don't know, because like I don't know if they really have if they have a place in NXT 2.0, and if they do, if it's a place that as a fan of them I'd want them to have. Again, week after week we see some of the veterans really kind of losing any of these matches with the new generation, because again the mission at this point seems to be all about building up the new guys. So I remain very divided on that one, where it's like, big fan of Johnny Gargano, but I don't know if I really want him to say like that. So it's tough. It is tough. We're mentioning Braun Breaker and being, yes, he is Rick Steiner's son, Scott Steiner's nephew. Brian Everett's name, so they should rename him Rex Steiner. I think that had been the pitch name at one point, or that was, I think that may even been his name at one point. Maybe it wasn't developmental and they changed it. But at this point, they very much built him up as Braun Breaker. Honestly, that's changing. But yeah, I mean, we are very much on the fast track here to WarGames, and but already here we got some comments about Braun Breaker again, saying Michael Covington saying Braun is ready for the main roster, might not even get the NXT title due to being called up so quickly. I mean, again, he worked the overseas tour. All it takes is well, I mean, ultimately we all know all it takes is Vince, kind of looking at the guy and going, "Oh, I want them on the main roster." We saw it with Hit Row. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. But you never know like what the timeline's going to be. The days of guys, I mean, there are exceptions. Johnny Gargano's still there, Ciampa's still there, but you can't necessarily assume anybody's going to be on NXT for a year, 2 years. Hit Row collectively was what, like 3 months, like ish, something like that. It was very, very quick turnaround. So no, Braun Breaker definitely has that main roster. He feels ready. I think it wouldn't hurt to give him some more seasoning there, but I imagine he'll be a set up for success when he does get called up here. So again, people excited about WarGames. Nando said just exclaiming WarGames in all caps. It'll be a fun show. I'm looking forward to it.
The guy's only 24 years old. Let's not forget, Braun Breaker is a young guy. So I don't think there's any hurry. I think he is going to really be the face of NXT. So I don't see him going anywhere anytime soon.
I would tend to agree, at least in the short term, and likewise, Steven Chambers saying that he's predicting Braun will be an NXT champion, like pretty much for that reason, that he will be kind of the standard bearer for the 2.0 generation.
He's going to win the title, and then he's going to have a match with Samoa Joe.
Hey, could happen, right? I mean, they got options on the table. Hope to see Samoa Joe back at some point soon, but definitely getting some more comments here. I mean, people seem to agree with at least my standpoint. I am very much rooting for the old school, and Brian Everett agreeing is rooting for old school and hopes that Johnny goes out on top, even if he does leave, wanting to go out with a victory like that. I think that'd be great. Steven Chambers also saying that he hopes that the old school generation wins as well. And that's, again, people seem to be very much rooting for old school, so that does my heart good. I very much agree. And yet again, not quite sure what the future holds for Gargano after that. Eddie's saying he doesn't know his contract status. Nobody does. Saying maybe he takes a pin and leaves, or he resigns. I mean, his wife Candice is she still has time on the contract, and she of course is pregnant. So a lot of variables at play. Not quite sure what's going to happen, but certainly interesting times here are afoot in NXT. Man, just it's and interesting and unpredictable times at that. So we were talking about the NXT, the men's ladder match here. We opened with the women's ladder match. We had a brawl with Dakota Kai and Kaylee Ray and their respective teams. Then we had the ladder match for the women's advantage between them. Also, this was very, very good. Kaylee Ray got the win, right? Yeah, sorry. Even on 2 hour shows, things fly by, and I have notes. But yes, Kayla Ray won. I thought this was great. I thought this was her best showing on the Prime NXT brand. I mean, I know she had a great run in NXT UK, but hasn't really been able to find her footing on the main NXT brand here so far. And thankfully, I think here she really kind of reminded everybody like that she was the champion in NXT UK for a reason. And here definitely kind of, I would say, solidified herself as a legit player in the NXT main women's division here. So with that, Team Raquel picked up the advantage here for WarGames, and at least on paper, needless to say, the team that has the advantage what should be kind of viewed as the favorite heading into the WarGames match. John, what do you think about this ladder match and the women's side of things here for WarGames?
I think the women's match is a little more unpredictable than the men's match because there is more of it's not really old school versus new school. It's more of just combining faces and heels that are in feuds with each other to kind of what they've done pretty much with I think is this the third women's war game match or second? It's either second or third, but
Third.
regardless,
I think it's the
all
third.
of the ones they've done before have been the same situation where it's people that are just in rivalries with each other. Of course, we've seen women turn on their own teammates before. I think we could possibly see it again this week. Who knows? But this feels like the match that's going to open the show this weekend. I feel like that's what they're going to do, and you can't go wrong with this combination of women in a match. We saw the report that came out today about the 10 women tag match that was last on Raw. They were very impressed. They were impressed with how the women held it together and how they kind of communicated with each other, just how the match flowed. I think we could see a similar situation this weekend.
I mean, the NXT Women's Division continues to kill it on a regular basis, and
And an interesting fun fact from Ben Jones here: Dakota Kai has been in all three women's war game matches, so she has experience and she's a veteran when it comes to this match. And I do think that the team that she is on is probably favored right now.
I would say so. So that would be Toxic Attraction and Dakota, right? I think it's 1-4.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. So no, I would agree. The champions would probably be favored. You got Dakota with her experience advantage as well. And yeah, definitely a fun bit of trivia there where she's been in all three, and no one else can say that. So with that being said, some comments here about Kaylee Ray with Nesha saying Kaylee's awesome, longest reigning NXT UK Women's Champion. She had a great run there, and now here she is on the main NXT brand. And as I said, had a great showing here as well. Brian Everett saying the ladies killed to open the show, and John, you were saying that you expected that to kind of be the case for games. I would agree. I think they're going to have an amazing match. I mean, there have been years where the women's War Games match has been, dare I say, better than the men's, and then the men's match is usually kind of the headlining match. So kind of goes to show you that the NXT Women's Division continues to be at the top of the game, and I don't think there's any disputing that. And you also mentioned some heel turns here. Stephen Chambers saying that he still believes Kaylee Ray will pull a swerve at War Games. It's possible, and then that would potentially kind of set up Dakota's team to win. So I could see that as well here. Just after pointing out that Io Shirai's been in all three as well. That sounds right. Not quite sure off the top of my head, but I feel like she's been in NXT for a while. I remember. I think that's right. Yeah, if I remember correctly, she was in the last year, and at least vaguely I feel like the one before that. So there you go. She's been in all three as well, and that's cool because she's on Team Raquel. So a cool kind of clash of two record holders there, I guess. So definitely look forward to that one. Stephen agreeing that will probably open the pay-per-view, and that's a very, very good way to open the show. So,
Watch, I'm going to be wrong now, so then I'm sorry I said that.
I mean, as we all know, your wrestling is.
We can agree it's not going to be the men. I can agree that'll be the main event. So
yeah.
I mean, we're running out of possibilities on what can open the show because it is. I think it's a normal NXT Takeover card with 5 matches, which was usually the normal back in the day. I want to talk about another one of those matches that we're going to see, which is a hair versus hair match. It's there was some hostility tonight in the building with some F-bombs thrown in chants. People do not seem to like Duke Hudson, and I don't know. What did you make of that kind of series of events tonight, from the match, the Andre Chase thing, and just the events afterwards? Just break it all down. What was your thoughts on all that?
Well, shout out to Andre Chase, right? I mean, this guy, I've been saying it for a little while now. He's making the most out of this gimmick, and it's very much just like enhancement talent level gimmick, at least in the way that he's being used. Like, he borderline like squash matches here, especially with this one with Grimes, and it makes sense, right? Grimes has a match on Sunday, but like I think it's very entertaining. I like all the kind of like the way they're playing with school. He's got the student section, and we've had the vignettes of him yelling at the students. I mean, it's just a fun time. He's one of the examples of the characters that are working, at least in my mind. So I was glad that he was on the show, and admittedly, I thought this would actually be a match. They had on social media yesterday. Chase had shared kind of a video promo for this match, so led me to believe, and there's a bit of a story, there's a bit of a reason for this match, so I thought I'd get some time, and it didn't. It was very much a pretty quick match. So Chase loses. I hope he strings together some meaningful ones soon. But then, as you said, Duke Hudson comes out and he proceeds to show kind of these images on the Videotron of Cameron Grimes being bald or semi-shaved or a bunch of ridiculous haircuts, and then saying that he is going to shave Cameron Grimes bald as the day he was born, beard included.
To a bunch of chants of "shut the f up" over and over again.
I didn't think that was warranted. I'm like, this dude's like just out here. It's not like you could name any number of heels that like say horrible things and like and kind of deserve
job,
that.
Brother.
Yeah, he's just he's building up the match, not doing anything too terrible. So I don't know about that, but as we've seen many a time here, the NXT crowd is something else. So maybe they just really weren't feeling what Duke Hudson was selling this week. But it was funny. I kind of thought, we're seeing these images of him being bald. Granted, it's a very, very small thing. I don't love his new look anyway. They had Hudson cut Grimes' hair a little bit to set up this match, and now his hair is like kind of. I liked how it was nice and long, and now it's like short. I don't dig it.
I do agree.
Yeah, so now I'm like, they might as well shave him bald anyway. Like, and especially because Duke Hudson just has average hair. It's not like usually, at best, at least for me, hair versus hair, you have two guys that have these luscious locks, and it's like with Duke Hudson, it's just normal hair. So like, if he loses it, it doesn't really matter. Whereas with Cameron Grimes, the whole point is that like he said last week that he values his hair, that it represents his overcoming adversity, overcoming the odds here, and chasing his dreams and all that stuff. Eddie Zahari kind of agreeing, saying Cameron Grimes will be bald after WarGames. Vince wants to send Cameron Grimes to the moon. Maybe being bald is part of that, but no, that's kind of where I come off on it. Like, at least maybe cynically, Benjamin A. Jones saying Grimes probably going bald anyway, but Nash is saying that Grimes will win. So people seem to be a little divided here. John, are you thinking either of these guys is particularly favored, or what are you thinking here?
I think just for the sake of how long each has been there and the direction they're going, I would assume Duke Hudson is probably the favorite. But at the same time, I think Cameron Grimes, kind of his style is not to be bald. So I don't know. I think it could go either way. I'm gonna go on a limb now and say that Grimes will probably win. That's what I think.
I think it's favored. I more just meant like I'm not digging the look of his relatively short hair, and now I'm like, you might as well just get rid of it all. But I would agree. I think he's the likely favorite to win the match. I think he makes more sense in a way, unless they do. Again, we've seen many times recently. The new generation tends to win these kind of matches here. So Vanessa picking Grimes, Herman picking Grimes. So people seem to be backing Grimes. You're backing him all the way, as now to saying to the moon. So that would be my pick as well. Again, maybe even though I hope he kind of goes bald anyway, that he gets shaved bald or whatever. Not, I digress. But and also, again, Brian Everett saying he's rooting for Grimes, maybe rooting him on all the way to the main roster. He's saying so. I think he'd do great things there. They could use a guy like him. If that happens, who knows? But we'll have to wait and see on that one. But I'm sure he could do great things here. But circling back to the women's match, you got a direct question from Michael Laboran saying, do we think Mandy Rose elevates the women's division? And another comment, he said, Mandy Rose is the best part of the show. I've talked about it before. I think she's doing a great job as a champion, doing a great job on this run with Toxic Attraction. I think that she'll have the opportunity to really kind of, not that she hasn't already, but to really kind of have an even more of a breakout moment at WarGames. So yeah, I think she elevates it. I think she as soon as she arrived, she added even more star power to it. So that's how I come off on. I don't know if you would agree or not, but I'm liking what she's doing on NXT.
I think she does elevate the division, of course, because she's kind of that experienced face that's there that has been through it before, knows how to kind of tutor the other people. So I just think that she would be a good fit on NXT, and I'm impressed that they have elevated her to the level of becoming champion.
Yeah, and
I mean, there's not really much else to say about it other than yes. To make a long story short, answer your question, yes.
yeah.
And I can't help but to look at Luke's comment that says she brings in the 65 plus rating because I there's some truth behind that too. You just got to face the facts. There is.
Yeah, yeah. Moving on, moving on. Boy, lots of stuff to talk about for War Games here. Steven James saying that we were talking about the War Games matches. We've got non-War Games matches for Sunday as well. Steven saying the only head scratcher is Joe Gacy versus Roderick Strong. Of course, Joe Gacy wanting to should I say disrupt the limits of the cruiserweight title. Wanting to kind of open it up, wanting it to not be so restrictive with the weight limits and whatnot. So tonight he wanted to kind of showcase his vision of an inclusive future. So John, we had technically kind of a somewhat intergender match here on NXT. We had Gacy bring out a bunch of people, one very undersized person, one very big guy, and a women's wrestler, and he wanted to face them in a 3-on-1 handicap match to showcase his vision for the future. And he pinned the it wasn't like it wasn't a very, very small person, but a relatively small guy. Pinned him, and then he wanted to wrestle the women's wrestler. They even named the people, so I can't even say. But then Diamond Mine crashed it and said, how about some legitimate competition? Roderick Strong said, not here to talk. Punches Joe Gacy, and there you go. That's the match we're getting on Sunday. But yeah, John, we said this as soon as they announced this. I just hard pointing out he's not 205 pounds, and again, that's the whole point. That he's trying to defy the weight limits here for the cruiserweight title. And kind of along that same vein, Brian Everett's wondering if they're changing it from the cruiserweight title and maybe renaming it. I don't know. This feels kind of like a novelty kind of thing. I don't.
Yeah,
think
that would
Roderick
ruin
Strong's
the
going to
point. I
lose.
think if they renamed it, it would kind of ruin the point that he's trying to make anyway.
Yeah. So that'd be my thoughts on it as well. And I think that's what there's to it. I don't think he's going to win. I think he could. But I think it's more about that story. And even if he does win, let's say if that does happen, I think it will more just be like, oh, I won, and it's still the cruiserweight title because again he's trying to kind of go against the weight specific thing there. But again, I've said it before. Even if you're not really digging Gacy and some of his, cheap words with inclusivity, all these things, these buzzwords. Again, I think he's got a good presence. I think he plays the character well, and I'm glad that he's in this spot. I mean, and admittedly, I think there's something kind of not if I agree, but I can see what he's saying, and I can kind of get behind it as a motive for a match. Of hey, this is kind of stupid. Stephen Chambers saying that Gacy is roughly 250, so to not be able to fight for a title on a brand where we've only got the NXT title, North America title, granted that's 2 titles, and then the cruiserweight, but to be restricted like that. It makes sense. So I think he has every reason to fight for that title, and we'll see that on Sunday, and I'm sure it'll be a very good match. And not to point out, I mentioned this I think last week. If they do rename it, I think on paper the NXT TV title or the TV championship makes sense, but at the same time, I think they're just going to keep it and keep rolling with it. And there you go. It is interesting to note. Nash is saying we're talking about the cruiserweight title here, and that's the cruiserweight title has very much been linked to 205 Live. And Nash is saying just do away with 205 Live. It's interesting because in recent weeks, especially, it feels like 205 Live has become this NXT for NXT because we've seen people basically debut on 205 Live and then shortly thereafter arrive on NXT. So it's almost like almost like a tryout version, something. It's like NXT light in a way. And there's something pretty interesting about that. Nesha calling it the third hour of NXT, or if you want to kind of make the comparison, kind of like AW and AW Dark almost, like kind of that elevation kind of thing. Where we had, I think Tiffany Stratton made her debut on 205 Live a week or two ago, and now we're seeing promos for her. I think Idris Anofe, I'm not sure I'm not pronouncing that right. He was on the show a week or two ago, and also Solo Sikoa was on the show as well. So that's kind of what we're seeing here. So ironically, I think that's for the best. We've talked about it before. Like we talked when Grayson Waller first started getting pushed here on the main NXT show. I noted, like, as someone who doesn't watch 205 Live, it was hard to kind of really like buy him as a legitimate, a legitimate guy on NXT. But if you're using it to like kind of slowly introduce people and give them that experience, I think that makes much more sense in a lot of ways there. So I like it. I think that might be its best usage here moving forward here. And that's good. And that's the thing. She watches 205 Live. There are only so many hours in a day. And after SmackDown, more often than not, I'm either doing the podcast or covering another show or doing whatever. So I often don't find the time. I kind of follow along to see who's on it, and that's about it. And maybe get some highlights here and there, but that's about it for me. Eddie, wondering what we think about Harland, the film where Parker Boudreaux, the kind of the muscle for Joe Gacy here. I looked away. I think he like knocked Roderick Strong down or something during a brief brawl here. So he's definitely the enforcer kind of role for Gacy. And Eddie wondering if we think he needs to go alone from Gacy, unleash his talent. I mean, that's probably where they're going eventually. But I think, for now, they're very much framing it as a Wyatt family-like thing, this cult follower dynamic thing. And then, as always, eventually, I'm sure there'll be a split somewhere down the road. But hopefully they kind of draw that out and help him get some experience here. But because Harland, I mean, people have been hyping up for a while. He's still very new to the business, very new to TV, very new just in general. So getting some experience, just kind of being on TV, being used like this, I think that's a good thing. So hopefully they don't rush that. But no, eventually I would assume that's going to be the case. So we were talking about the Cruiserweight title match. We have another title match to look forward to on Sunday. We had a tag team match here where it was Legado Fantasma facing Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner. The winner would go on to face Imperium on Sunday. We've had these three teams kind of going in this three-way feud thing here for a little bit. Obviously, we briefly mentioned it a couple earlier on the show, where Kyle O'Reilly's contract coming up, lending some uncertainty there. In my mind, I was kind of rooting for Legado. I thought that would have been a better match collectively because I think both teams are very, very good. Again, not trying to knock Von Wagner. I'm not quite seeing it, at least so far. And again, I say it every week, still just kind of protesting that he got a title shot early on, trying not to hold that against them, but they have it. Which is
fair. That's fair.
It's kind of rubbing the wrong way. But we had this tag team match. I enjoyed it. Legado's very talented. Kyle was great. I think Von Wagner, I think he's got a lot of potential, but again, not quite clicking for me yet. But again, with Kyle's contract being what it is, I kind of thought that he might lose, or they might do, I don't know. We had people predict last week that Von would turn on Kyle. Instead, Von Wagner and Kyle O'Reilly won, so they'll be getting a title shot against Imperium, and then they set this up with a brief backstage vignette, backstage segment where Von called Imperium dumbasses. And there you go. John, what are you thinking about this tag title match here with Imperium and Kyle and Von here?
I thought it was entertaining to say the least because I don't think it really gave any clear direction on what we could possibly expect in the title match when the title match comes, because they really haven't been champions that long, but at the same time, do they want to go with kind of that new, fresh direction and an NXT 2.0 team? I mean, let's face it, Imperium's not really an NXT 2.0 team.
It's true, and yeah, again, much like Johnny Gargano, although I think for me at least, the writing on the wall is on the wall there, even though I'm very much rooting for NXT old school. With this, there is definitely more unpredictability. Kyle could stay, Kyle could go. Ed is saying that he very much like most people at this point are predicting that Kyle will maybe not take the pin, but they'll go to AEW, be with his friends, Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, obviously, at the Undisputed Era there. That remains a very popular prediction at this point. Whether that happens remains to be seen, but it's easy to connect those dots. If he does stay, if they do kind of convince him to sign a new deal, I could see them winning the titles, and then we kind of wanted to elevate Von Wagner like that, because apparently they are very high on Von Wagner already. So that would be one way to do it. Brian Everett is kind of in agreement with what I was saying about saying still getting used to Von Wagner and O'Reilly maybe as a team, not solo them as a duo. And I would agree, even as I was more knocking Wagner a little bit, but as a team as well, it's kind of this odd couple kind of thing. We had the one vignette that were they were in the woods, a bunch of weird stuff. But we know that we have this match on Sunday. If I had to predict it, I would assume Imperium's going to win. That's, again, mostly because of that uncertainty of Kyle O'Reilly. Steven Chambers agreeing, so Imperium should retain. Maybe we'll see Imperium versus MSK. And speaking of MSK, we had the latest chapter of their thrilling search for the shaman, and they finally found him, John. But we did not get to know who the shaman is. They finally found him. They pulled up to the house. They opened the door. It was all smoke and mirrors and weird lighting. You couldn't see him, but they did find the shaman. So you have to assume that we will see whoever the shaman is next week.
Or Sunday.
I mean, yeah, that'd be nice, right? Give WarGames another kind of noteworthy development. That'd be great. I don't know why. Like, the way the camera panned to his boots, or there was something. I was like, is that Elias? And that remains my leading prediction at this point, only because we haven't seen Elias in the main roster. And again, even though I would be surprised at this point if anyone from the main roster went back down to NXT, because Mandy Rose went to NXT before it got rebranded as 2.0, and we've had this whole reshuffling or the reimagination of NXT as a brand. I mean, at this point, I just think it's all about the new people, whereas that bringing somebody from the past back kind of goes against that. But I'm thinking it's Elias. Nesh is agreeing. There's one funny bit where we had the GPS told Wesley to watch his ass. I'm like, I don't know. We'll talk about some of the other character-based things here, but I thought that was pretty fun. But my main takeaway here, very glad. It seems that we are on the precipice of finding out whoever in the world the shaman is. John, what are you thinking about this?
I think it's definitely has been booked very well and progressed very well, and I think it's very unpredictable. There isn't even anybody you could really guess. I mean, you said Elias, but I'm saying, like, there's no really leading candidate for runner that's been made obvious. There has just been no tips, no leaks, no nothing about who this could be, which really makes me believe it's not going to be anything particularly really big or a big return or anything like that, or it would have probably leaked by now. So Elias would make sense because he's already there, so it's not like anybody would be expecting something like that. So I could see that. I don't really have a preference on who. Like, I'm thinking it really should be this person. So it would be kind of hard for it to be a disappointment. Unless maybe it was somebody that, like, has just never been exposed to the crowd before, so it's like, who is this guy?
Right.
So
And
I don't know.
I mean, I is saying kind of along that same idea, maybe it is somebody we haven't seen before. And to that, I say, like, they're even tonight alone, we saw, it feels like this is almost like a second wave of NXT 2.0, because we had several new vignettes and several new characters either arrive officially or get set up.
NXT 2.5.
There you go, right? Oh my gosh, can't even imagine. One off the ball suggestion from Steven Chambers saying, what if it's William Regal? I mean, it could be. I mean, he has the wisdom of a shaman, right? They've mentioned in the past that it was, as Josh Hefner pointing out, was a tag team specialist, and that still throws me off. Like, that kind of rules out Elias. His name and maybe RVD and Michael Hayes. I don't know. I really
Shane
don't know.
McMahon. Luke says Triple H to clean up the mess.
I miss Papa H, man. He had obviously had the cardiac event. Apparently, it was very, very serious. At least per one report, he's still, as far as we know, recovering. So hopefully, obviously, his health remains the most important thing. But my gosh, yeah,
this is like before, whenever we did the battery charger thing, and was guessing who it was. We eventually did lock down to who it was, which was Tegan Knox, and we were right eventually. And there was another one before that where we were guessing on who somebody could be, and we were completely wrong. Let's not forget when Ember Mood returned. Nobody had guessed it was her.
Nobody had that one. No, I was way off on that one. I was way off on the. We predicted Tegan Knox. I think we had thought that the previous one with the burying in the past was probably Dakota. But this one, I don't know. Elias, I thought. I think that's kind of ruled out if it is a talking specialist. I don't know. Eddie Zarius, maybe it's Bobby Stevenson, Gable Stevenson's brother. I don't know. I would hope it's somebody that has some familiarity in terms of like people, some that would get a reaction.
Samoa Joe.
I hope not. I hope not. He deserves better than that. This seems to be a little kind of funny, like kind of a comedic thing. And Samoa Joe, I mean, not that he's not funny. Samoa Joe's a legit badass, like main event guy. Like this ain't that. I don't know, man. Again, hopefully, fingers crossed, this will be resolved come Sunday. Luke's saying it's the Shaman's the $1 million egg itself, $100 million egg itself, in human form. Why not? Why not? Nash just asking if Samoa Joe's cleared. Have not heard a peep. I've not heard a peep about Samoa Joe since he vacated the title due to some medical setbacks that he was dealing with. So I cannot say about that. But haven't seen him since. So I would have to assume maybe not. I don't know. Best again, as of Triple H, best wishes to him. Health is the most important thing here. So hope he's doing well. And as soon as we know more, once more information becomes available, we will share that as soon as possible. So otherwise here, I think we pretty much had one more match, then a bunch of character things here. Nash just saying that she loves Solo Sikoa, and we had a very brief match with Solo Sikoa facing Idris Enofe, who was one of these newcomers on NXT, and he was on 205 Live. I don't know what it was about him. Something like I was like, this is good. Like I don't know. He had a good promo where Idris was like, on paper it sounds cliche, but he was like he overcame the odds, came from a bad neighborhood, and it focused on his military background. And then even after that ended, he was kind of left without any clear direction, and then he still kind of fought against that and wound up here in WWE. So there you go. I thought he did well with that promo, and then he comes out. He's kind of like got some kind of cool swagger to him. Grant got pretty much squashed by. It wasn't quite a squash. He got some good offense in, and then Robert Stone was ringside, maybe scouting some talent. Not unsure which one he was scouting, but then after the match, we had Boa attack Solo there because he sought out Solo for help backstage because clearly the demons inside of him were hurting him, and Solo said, "I don't speak your language, pal. I can't help you." So feels we're getting something there. Not too much to write home about, other than, as I said the first time I saw him, my gosh, Solo Sikoa is the third Uso brother.
His promos sound just like him too,
it's
talking
crazy
about how this ain't the military. I'm the street fighter of Samoa, and it was just like the more I talked, the more I closed my eyes and listened to it, I was like, this guy would fit perfectly in a stable of some sort. And I think eventually we will get to that point, but I am very interested to see but how fast the development goes for him, because he is also very, very young, mid to low 20s as well. So
yeah. I think there's this like cream of the crop in NXT 2.0 right now of like Braun, Solo, Carmelo being enough. I think Carmelo maybe even above that. But like of these guys that are very young and like maybe still have yet to like get that experience, but that have got so much potential. I think those are two guys I could definitely spotlight as very much potentially being big stars moving forward here. Stevenson maybe down the road seeing Braun versus Solo, that'd be cool. Clash of two powerhouses there. Nando comparing him to Jacob Fatu. That's a good shout. Former MLW World Heavyweight Champion Jacob Fatu. Definitely a good comparison. I like that, and I would agree with it. If Nesha Kurse saying Solo is a future champion of some sort, and I would agree. He's definitely got a good look. He's got the bloodline quite literally going for him. So I think that as you said, John, if he does kind of learn quickly, I think he's going to do very, very well for himself. And again, people seem to be liking Solo. Brian Everett saying he likes Solo as well, and saying that Idris has promise additionally. So definitely good to have Solo Pecker win, and also to have Idris out there in his official NXT debut looking pretty good. So I like that. And with Boa, whatever demonic possession he's dealing with. Looks like it'll be setting up a feud with Solo and potentially with Robertson in mix there as well. Although he may have been scouting Idris. I'm not quite sure on that one. That's one to look forward to moving forward. But good stuff. But otherwise, there we had just a bunch of vignettes, a bunch of things kind of to preview what's to come here, preview who's to come, I should say. We had another vignette of Tiffany Stratton talking about how she's a daddy's girl and she's shopping and how price tags are just numbers. It's a very, very, very snobby and just like rich, spoiled girl kind of thing. Boy, I just like this has like potentially Eva Marie level heat where I'm just like here in the promo, I'm just like, oh, like not quite go away heat because we haven't even seen her yet or seen her in the ring, but like just inherently like maddening promo is like, oh my gosh, I just want to see you get beat up. So, kudos to that one is like, I think she'll be a very, very like annoying level heel. Eddie's saying the gimmick has just scrapped right now. It is kind of weird if you think about it, where it's like more often than not, these writers are middle-aged white dudes, right? And now this having this gimmick about a daddy's girl kind of thing. There's something that seems kind of weird about that. But I mean, she did debut on NXT here. Sorry, she debuted on 205 Live, I think a week or two ago. So she presumably will be ready for ready for prime time, if you will. Sooner on later here. But I mean, I remember I looked her up when I wrote up her debut on 205 Live. I think she was like the 2016, 2017 Olympian. I think it was Olympic gymnastics or something like that. So definitely I think she, among others, is this like representative of the new NXT of like people with other backgrounds, other athletic backgrounds that they want to mold into a sports entertainer. So I think that's definitely a good example of that. And as I said, mission accomplished, because like this promo was just, boy, again, for me, it's like great against my skin, and I think that she's being set up for success, even if again maybe the gimmick, maybe the context of the gimmick might be a little questionable. Anthony's asking for surprise they didn't scrap it, given what I was saying about the daddy's girl thing, all that stuff. I mean, I don't know, like a gimmick's a gimmick. Like if you're gonna like kind of go that far into it, like a lot of things like kind of probably have similar like concerns and problematic, connections like that. I mean, I get it, and when I read that report, I was like, all right, I can kind of see it. It's pretty weird, but at the same time, man, it's wrestling. There's so much weird stuff, and at some point, you just gotta be like, all right, buckle in. We're here. But like I said, I'm thinking this could be a very successful heel character. What are you thinking, John? Because this is one of the characters that I kind of most want to talk about tonight of the new ones we saw.
I absolutely agree. I thought it was very interesting and kind of an idea, not out of left field, but unique. You don't see this very often. You don't see stuff like this every day. So I don't want to jump to conclusions like we normally do, because sometimes we might say, oh, this is going to be good or this is going to be bad, and then we're completely wrong. So I will wait to see kind of what unfolds in the next couple weeks.
I am cautiously optimistic. I'll say that. I think it's such a like heat magnet of a gimmick. It's like it's so annoying automatically that it could be good. Stephen Chambers, I like this idea, maybe pairing Tiffany with Robert Stone. I think that would make some sense. Lugata starts maybe a little more off the wall, so maybe the $1 Million Man will come back and work with Tiffany, bring her work with her as the next $1 Million champion kind of thing. Don't know about that, but I like the idea of, again, this idea of the rich and the wealthy and the snobby. I mean, on paper, I like it. I think it'd be pretty cool. Stephen Chambers also saying that she's the young version of Frankie Monet. Remain very upset about what happened with Frankie Monet getting released there, but they do have a chance to get it right here and to make a new, fresh heel star here. But again, this is one of the multiple examples here, but also one more comparison with Brian Everett saying she's like Chelsea Green. I think that's a good comparison as well. So this is one new character. I mean, this is the second one for her. We got a bunch of new ones as well. Again, I mentioned Idris a minute ago. We had a very brief promo from Draco Anthony saying he's now what NXT needs. He's now what NXT wants, but he is what NXT needs. This one was very, very brief. He was in a coffee shop drinking some black coffee. I do not like black coffee, but I guess he's a tough guy. He's drinking black coffee. But that was what he was saying, and that was all we had to really to go off of. But kind of an interesting introduction, I guess, to kind of see how he might be what NXT needs. I think there are some other ones, but can't quite really remember. Like those are the ones that always stood out. Idris, Draco, and especially Tiffany Stratton there. So again, John joked a couple minutes ago about NXT 2.5 with this new introduction of even more talent here. But we're gonna wait and see which ones might find success, as we've seen people find a success in this initial stretch of NXT 2.0, leading into WarGames here on Sunday. So with that, John, the go home show, 4 WarGames on Sunday, 2 ladder matches, hype up for title matches, new characters, elaboration of old characters, and everything in between. What do you think of this show?
I would go with 6.75. Thought it was a little bit below average. I thought the build kind of to the review this weekend was a little subpar, a little disappointing. Otherwise, strong video packages for some potential interesting new characters, as well as just the main event in-ring action was entertaining as well.
Yeah, I thought. I mean, I would agree. Both ladder matches was very, very good. I liked, admittedly, like it irked me, but I thought that the Tiffany Stratton one was good. We had other characters here kind of getting maybe some more direction. Solo, Boa, all these things. Can't complain. It felt like kind of at the same time maybe a little uneventful for a go home show, but we had some more hype up for WarGames on Sunday, so that was very, very good. So there you go. So for me, I'm biased because I'm just down on the looming death of NXT of old in my mind, at least. But I can't knock Braun Breaker, Johnny Gargano, very, very good match. Good ladder match with Kaylee Ray Dakota open the show. Stuff to look forward to. Beyond that, we got confirmation that Zion Quinn will face Santos Escobar next week. Zion indirectly helped Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner win their match with Legado. So the latest outcome of that match, or that feud, we'll see next week. That won't be on the WarGames card. That'll be on NXT next week. So for me, I would probably go for 6.3. Admittedly, probably unfairly knocking it for my upsetness about the lay of the land here. But I want to give one shout out to Joseph saying more people should watch Chucky rather than NXT, because it actually has story and pop progression. And I noted that because I review Chucky for our sister site coming soon, and the season finale is I think wrapping up at this very moment. So if you haven't checked out,
I hope he's saying that more people should, because if he's saying it as a statement, as in more people do watch Chucky each week, that's not true. The ratings for Chucky are not as high as NXT 2.0. So hopefully he meant should, like you implied.
I chose. I read it as should. He's saying maybe that they do watch it. I'll read it as they should. Maybe people should watch Chucky. Nesha has commented a couple of times in recent weeks about Chucky. Herman's saying he never liked Chucky. If you give the show a chance, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. It'll be on Peacock tomorrow if you have that. Assuming if you're watching this, you do. But some thoughts about NXT here with Nando deviating from his usual ducks to pigs, saying NXT, I guess that's 6 pigs and a half oinks. We love you, Nando. Brian with 7 as well. He had the build to WarGames kept him going. Luke Gallagher with a Bob Ross out of 10. I don't know what that means, but when you incorporate animals instead of numbers here, you can go for Bob Ross as well. Eddie Zahari with a 6.5, Herman with a 5 as well, Steven with a 7, and Nesha with a 6 for the NXT WarGames go home here. So there you go. So not a bad show by any means. Maybe a little slow, but definitely some good things to look forward to for WarGames and beyond. Nando doesn't know what Chucky is.
I hope he's lying. I really hope he's lying.
Admittedly, I mean, hey, people, whatever, man.
But if he watches NXT, he would have saw Chucky like a couple
this
weeks
is true. This is true. maybe not as pulling I like there. But don't want to go off on a Chucky tangent. I just want to say that I like Chucky. And if you haven't checked out, if you're a horror movie fan, if you're a Chucky fan, definitely recommend checking that series out. And maybe even checking my reviews for coming soon, our sister site. I'll check it out. Good friend of the show, of the website, Tyler Treese, runs things over there, runs a great team over there. Nando's given us an ellipsis, so I think he was kidding. Sorry about that, Nando. But with that being said, John, we're on to WarGames here on Sunday. I'm sure it'll be a very, very good show. I'm not ready, John. For me, it is the last day of November here as we record this, and my gosh, I think that, or I pretty much know that December it's gonna wreck me because we got WarGames on Sunday, and for all intents and purposes, as far as I can tell, it's gonna be the end of NXT as we know it, the end of NXT as I once loved it, and then the next weekend, Ring of Honor, its last pay-per-view of this era. The Ring of Honor that I have loved as well, 2 weekends in a row. My gosh, I'm not ready. It's gonna, if I'm 2 weeks from now, if I'm in a rough spot, guys, I'm sorry, but it's gonna be a rough little stretch of time here. But even with that, even with the looming death of the two brands that I have very, very much loved for several years now, we try to do the one thing here about with this show, with the Raw show on Mondays, with SmackDown show on Fridays, with everything we do here on any given day. We try to do the one thing here, and that's to enjoy the wrestling. I gave away the tagline before I even got into the heart, the meat and potatoes here. We've got those shows. We got interviews. We've got the two Dino dudes on the Rampage covering all things AEW. Interviews just across the board. Make sure to leave, like, and subscribe. All of our platforms: SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube Podcast. We will be here on Sunday to talk all things NXT WarGames. However that show does go. And hey, maybe on the off chance that NXT doesn't die a miserable death on Sunday, we'll be there to celebrate that as well. I'm sure it'll be a fun show regardless. But with that being said, it's on to WarGames, and it's on to the rest of the Wrestling League. So that being said, I already gave it away. But John, we try to do one thing here above all others at WrestleZone. Can you tell me what that is?
Sit back, relax, enjoy the show.
You're darn right. And with that, thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate your support and have a good